Well, let me officially welcome you. My name is Joe Lamont. I work at NAMM, and I'm just thrilled to have this show, the last of our pandemic rescheduled shows, almost behind us. Then we go back to January, where this industry has gathered for decades and decades in January 24. But now, all you newbies are part of the family. You're stuck with us, and I'll be your crazy uncle. So, TEC Tracks. What are we doing here at TEC Tracks? Why do we? This was our proverbial town square, where we share, where we learn, we tell stories, and we really bring the next generation up so that this industry we love, music that we love, can remain vibrant and bringing positive to the world. And if there's one thing, by the way, many music people don't agree on many things, but if there's one thing the world can agree on, is that the world needs more music. Amen? Amen. Welcome to TEC Tracks, our proverbial town square. This session is actually pretty incredible. It came about quite suddenly, which is how serendipity happens sometimes. And the conversation today is a perfect example of what TEC Tracks is all about. Brandi Carlile is going to talk about producing and uncovering the artist in the studio. Now, our interviewer, I'm going to read this because I just got to get this right. Our interviewer is a 4-time Grammy-winning engineer-producer whose work runs across all genres spanning pop, rock, R&B, and more. His credits include such acclaimed artists as Fiona Apple, Ringo Starr, Phoebe Bridgers, Michael Jackson, Sheryl Crow, Weird Al Yankovic, Paul McCartney. Wait a second, did Weird Al get ahead of Paul McCartney? Is that really, or is that a typo here? Someone tell Weird Al that this is really a big day for him. Yeah, and dozens of others, including the acclaimed soundtrack to Echo in the Canyon. If you haven't seen that, is that the most incredible documentary? Brandi, on the other hand, has never worked with Weird Al that I'm aware of, but she has such an incredible career. Now, by the way, she flew in just for this. This was her idea to be with me today. I didn't have to do this. She came in for you. 9-time Grammy Award winner, singer, songwriter, performer, producer, #1 New York Times best-selling author and activist who is known as one of music's most respected voices. Brandi has collaborated closely with Joni Mitchell, Elton John, The Highwaymen, Highwoman, Soundgarden, Alicia Keys, Marcus Mumford, Dolly Parton, and Weird Al Yankovic. Who, I guess it's true. I didn't know that. Sorry, Brandi, you're going to kill me now. You may kill me now. In recent years, she has been increasingly in demand as a respected producer, helming albums by Tanya Tucker, Lucius, The Secret Sisters, and Brandi Clark. The 2019 Tanya Tucker album, White Livin', was Carlile's co-produced with Shooter Jennings, won the Grammy for Best Country Album. The production work continues in earnest this year with multiple high-profile projects in the pipeline, including the upcoming self-titled Brandi Clark LP, Tanya Tucker's recently announced due to release Sweet Western Sound, and many, many others. Please give a warm NAMM welcome to Dave Way and Brandi Carlile.
Wow. All right, NAMMers, first day. This is a good way to break in. I'm excited. Thank you, Joe. First of all, before we go anywhere, I want to thank Joe and Leslie Lewis and Robbie Klein for putting this on. But then I really want to thank Brandi for being here. You flew in just for this.
Yeah, I did.
I'm so excited to talk to you.
I'm excited to talk to you. Thank you for that. Thanks for all you for coming and checking us out. Whatever we have to say for the next hour.
But we could could talk forever. We already started talking.
He had to stop us talking. He's like backstage. He's like, we're wasting it. We have to stop talking to each other. And then we just looked at each other for like the last 20 minutes.
We're like, no, don't talk. Don't talk. But we could talk forever because, and we could talk even just about your career and the amazing tear you've been on these, last forever. But we're kind of going to concentrate on production stuff. But I do want to, before we get into that, I just wanted to talk about a little bit about growing up and kind of what was, you grew up in a musical family and you had, I'm guessing, a lot of music playing in the house. And I'm just wondering what was playing in the Carlile house when you were a kid?
Oh, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, where the Pacific Northwest loves its country music, but calls it country and western.
Oh, yeah?
Believes firmly that it's not Southern inherently. And I remember just that kind of pride in my grandparents around country and western music, and aunts and uncles, great aunts and uncles, my mother, everybody's singing country music around us, and we started by singing country music.
Yeah. But I'm guessing as you got a little bit older that, being in Seattle, you couldn't have helped but be affected by the kind of grunge and Seattle scene around then?
Yeah, I think I was affected by it. I certainly realized that recently, like I was telling you. But it was like, there was also a simultaneous rejection of it because, and it was this time, I think it was even like this around here where it was like every strip mall had a western wear shop and all of the bars did line dancing on Thursday nights and everything got real boot scoot and boogie. And so there was like a big presence for country music, I think, at that time that was sort of ubiquitous and palatable to almost everyone. That was what everybody was listening to, And then the grunge thing hit, and that actually seemed avant-garde, even though it was like in my backyard.
And did you have a favorite Spice Girl? No. All right. Well, we'll start talking a bit about producing, but your debut album was self-produced, you and the Twins. And if people don't know who the Twins are, you're going to find out a bit more because we can't not talk about them. But they've been with you from the very beginning, and your first album was the three of you producing, right?
Yeah.
And
if that's what it was, we didn't really know that that's what it was. We needed something to sell at our shows. And so we had just enough money to go into like a couple of random, home studios and random studios around Seattle and just record whatever songs we could afford.
So it was kind of piecemeal?
Piecemeal, yeah. And some of it was even, we pulled things off of a 4-track that we recorded in our practice place and put it on there just so it would reach
really?
10 tracks, yeah.
Some of that stuff is like, you pulled the 4-track stuff onto a 24-track.
Yep, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
the song Tragedy was a 4-track demo from our practice place under the bridge in Georgetown.
So the vocals were from that 4-track, or did you end up?
Yeah.
Really?
Everything
awesome.
was from that 4-track.
I love that. See, guys?
Yeah. I still have that 4-track.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it a Tascam Port
Yes,
Studio? I
Tascam.
had the same one. I love it. I bought one just for it. I have all my old tapes. You still have the tapes?
Yeah.
Great.
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't let go of shit.
That was yeah. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to get rid of stuff. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Because as soon as especially something like that, you have an emotional attachment to it, and it's like.
Yeah, in like 5 minutes from now, they're going to be selling them at Urban Outfitters for like $40. They're going to be a living room fixture for all the music geeks,
Oh.
Yeah.
But so it sounds like you were just kind of finding your way, amazingly so, because the record's amazing. So you guys just finding your way. You already knew where you were going. So, but after that, you've made records with some of the biggest producers around. You've worked with T-Bone and Rick Rubin and Dave Cobb and Trina. You co-produced some of your records. But I'm just interested in what the difference is between self-producing, which you've also done on some of your subsequent albums too, but versus what was it like when you get in the studio, kind of first time somebody kind of guiding you, and then maybe if you could tell us a little bit of what you learned from working with these other producers.
Yeah, well, I think when we were, in theory, self-producing, I was still being mentored and influenced by Rick Rubin, actually, at the time. When I met Rick Rubin in LA, he was the first person that ever said yes to me and the Twins. We did a little showcase for him after we'd been passed on by like every label possible from here to New York. My first time in New York was to go and get passed on by 6 record labels, and my 3rd or 4th time to LA was just over and over again to just get passed on by every label. And we came to play for Rick Rubin, and I got really sick the night before the showcase. Yeah. And I took this cough medicine, and I realized I had an allergy that I never knew I had to. This is called dextromethorphan or something like that. I can't take anything with that in it. Anyway,
so what happened,
my face started like spasming and doing all of its own things without me controlling it. And I couldn't remember the words, and I couldn't remember the chords, and I just like fumbled this showcase for Rick Rubin, and he goes, well, I can tell you're not really yourself. And I'm like, I think I'm allergic to this cough medicine. And he goes, well, go home, and come back and play. We'll do this again. But he didn't give a time or anything, and I was like, well, that was just another pass, But I got home, and I got a paper ticket in the mail. This is a long time ago. And he flew us back, and I wasn't sick, and we played our first song, and he said, play that again, and I played it again. He said, play that again, and we played our first song for him 3 times.
Wow.
And he wanted to give us a record deal, but American Recordings didn't have a parent company at the time. So he said, I'm just going to mentor you through this part of your career. And I was like, well, we got 50 songs. So I gave him like all 50 of our songs. And he said, these ones are special, save them. And he goes, but I know you guys need money, so record these other ones to sell your shows. And then I would record the songs, and I'd send them to Rick, and he'd give me his advice, and I'd go back in and tweak it. And that first album became the reject songs. And the second one was The Story. And those were all the special ones that Rick told us to save.
Wow. You had all those kind of in your pocket at that point.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we kind of fell out because I signed with another record label based on that first album. And then we fell out, and I made The Story with T-Bone Burnett. And then me and Rick, we reunited for Give Up the Ghost.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a soulmate, ethereal mentor to me, as is T-Bone, as is everybody I've ever worked with.
Right, yeah. I mean, those two in particular are two of the wisest. If you're going to pick mentors, those are the guys you would want to custom pick, because now I want to talk about songs, but I also just, while we're talking about those guys and that batch of songs, and you said these are the special ones. Right, so Rick kind of had an idea of what he thought were the special ones. Right? How did you feel about them? Were there some there you're like, oh, but you don't like this one? I really like this one, or like that one? What did you learn from his choices of what was special that maybe you hadn't thought was special at the time?
Well, at the time I just thought I knew. All of the
Were these just demos, like guitar and vocal kind of demos? Or
or the Tascam shit that we were talking about,
right,
4-track. Yeah, they're mostly demos. And he had an opinion about what was special. I had an opinion about what was special. And I mean, T-Bone Burnett said this to me the other night. We were chatting about that era when The Story. He goes, yeah, you were just so punky. You were hard to deal with. And so, I had a hard time with being told which ones were special and which ones weren't special,
Right.
And then what showed me in retrospect that was a valid observation is what happened to me over the last 20 years live. You see the songs that are special based on the reaction of the audience. Yeah. They can be special to you, but it does matter how a song in its specialness lands on a body of people in mass.
Yeah.
You feel it. You feel the energy of a special song, and it just so happened to be the 15 that Rick said were special.
Wow.
Yeah.
He had
a knack.
radar on that. Fantastic. Well, have you always liked being in the studio? Because I know some people don't particularly like, the microscopic kind of detailing, getting in, but some people just love it. where would you fall, you think?
I really like it now, and I don't think I really did like it when I was a lot younger. I just want to get on the road, get on the road, get on the road. And now I'm really much more fascinated about the psychology of music and a musician, the molecular quality of pulling something together to be a sum of its parts and have it be really magical. That whole kind of alchemy now really, really appeals to me.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, I think, a part of getting older that I'm really proud of.
Right, and it is the
It's so fun mixing it with Brandon Bell because we would be like, right up the giggle, right up the giggle. You know, every song would have this giggle, you know, and the Big Yellow Taxi, it has that maniacal Joni laugh at the end of it. Every song at Newport, she just laughed of joy, like innocent joy. It's another thing to point out is that in an album that's a live album, where I think the production really comes into play. Sure, there was a lot of pre-production. There was a lot of work getting Joni to Newport and getting those songs orchestrated and getting everybody on the same page. But the post-production work is so dependent on the engineers, and everything I've ever done is so dependent on the engineers because I'm a producer that doesn't engineer, and I am. I've got both hands tied behind my back without the engineers that have been kind enough to teach me. They've been like teachers to me, and they're so patient with me, translating my ideas that are just all phrased wrong and ill-timed and inconsistent, you know, and these people have really helped me feel like I could call myself a producer, and I feel so passionate about that as a job for myself. And I just wanted to say that without Brandon Bell, who engineered and mixed this album with me, David Spring did Tammy Tucker, Brandon Bell did Brandy Clark with me. Brandon Bell's been working with this young gal with me, with Tish, Trina Shoemaker, who mixed both Tandy Tucker records and engineered both self-produced records for me and co-produced both self-produced records with me. Jerry Streeter from Bear Creek, you know, these people are my mentors as much as Rick Rubin or T-Bone Burnett is.
Yeah, that's so kind of you. But they've already given me the 5-minute thing. I know, we didn't even get into Tish because I really want, I don't know how much we're allowed to go over here, I don't think we are. But I have some Tish music to play that is, I'm telling you, it's great. And she's, talk a little bit.
Could I preface the Tish Melton?
Go ahead.
So I recorded a song remotely with Tish a few years ago for her mom's podcast. Her moms are Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach. And Tish is amazing. She was amazing then. She was only 15. And we did a song together, and I was like, oh, this is really good, you know? And Tish started working a little bit with me, a little bit with Linda Perry, just in mentorship, just talking about music and sending bands we like back and forth and stuff. And Tish just turned 17, and she's been sending me these voice memo demos that are just crazy, really good. And I've been intimidated actually to work with her because I thought, well, you know, maybe I'm not cool enough. I gravitate towards people my age or older, and I don't know why you want to do this with me. But I sort of started listening to everything that's influencing her, from Lizzie McAlpine to Madison Cunningham, Boy Genius especially, Lucy Dacus, her absolute favorite artist, Phoebe Bridgers, Taylor Swift. I started listening to these artists, and I was like, especially in this moment in time, I was like, oh, I get this. I get this because maybe Seattle got into me more than I thought it did, and I understand where these tones are coming from. I understand where these sounds come from. I understand the influences that influence these artists. And I actually, you know, woke up and lived and breathed Elliott Smith during this time. And so I was like, maybe I could try this. I'm cool enough to do it or whatever. And working with Tish she just left like 3 days ago, so this is really fresh. But I feel really unlocked and back in touch with myself in my 20s as an artist in a way that I just haven't in a long time, running around in my Muse t-shirts, singing everything off the bends. I feel like working with somebody that much younger than me has done something for me as an artist and as a producer, which is probably the first time I can say that.
Now, so we're gonna play. Is it okay to play a little? This is so fresh. You literally just
like rough mixes
from last week.
So I'm definitely sweating.
No,
Brandon Bell should really be sweating if you were here right now, sweating it out with me. But like, we haven't even listened to these outside of my car and our home studio.
All right, well, I think it's gonna be okay.
But
Let's
it's
just play
cool.
that, and then we're gonna take some Q&A because they're already giving me the big signs over there. So let's play Tish.
I'm well aware it's my fault. We don't have those anymore.
Yeah.
All right. That's they're telling me that we don't have any time for Q&A. I'm sorry, you guys. We had too much to talk about.
Dad's here.
Dad's here, exactly. Yeah.
We don't have time for one or two questions?
Ask your mother.
Writing your next album? Is it rock and roll?
That's a good question. Am I writing my next album? Is it rock and roll? I think it will be rock and roll. But I'm kind of shut that part of myself off for a while. I think I really am going to align with and learn from other artists for a little bit and just get away from the me of it all just for a little while. There's been a lot of me these last couple of years.
Can't you stay for the She-Rock Awards tonight?
Can I stay for the She-Rock Awards tonight? Let me tell you what I'm doing. 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm getting on an RV that I've been cleaning for 2 days and taking my children camping on the peninsula.
Look, you guys, this has been incredible. And like a NAMM, good news, bad news, there's another session coming up. But I will tell you one thing. Someone wise told me once that there are days you remember for the rest of your life, but that they're damn few. You just had one of them. Thank you, everybody. Brandi Carlile.